Boston Celtics preseason is over. Let's look back and take stock. What have we learned? I think you'll find the Celtics are ready to play basketball. We'll talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Thanks to Blockbuster brand, it's holiday season. Drop Drew in the mix, and 3 from KP. No, we not on the Knicks. Flushing competition like Al on Giannis. Juice and Big Deuce, still Bean Town's finest. Banner 18 going up in the rafters. Watch the C's game in Locked On NASA. Karalis on the breakdown. Clutch like a tip from D. White on the breakdown. John on the mic, documenting domination. Matter pen back bay, it's all C's nation. Rain and J's, how we started raising business. How we finished. Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners. Peace.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. I got you covered Monday through Friday at the very least. When they play on a Friday or a Saturday night, bonus podcasts. That Sunday night game is the Monday podcast. So bonus podcasts whenever they play. Maybe sometimes I'll be podcasting 14 days in a row, whatever it is. I will be here for you with a free podcast. You're never going to have to pay a dime to listen to this show. So subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Get onto that YouTube page. Get into the comment section. And join me, John Karalis, a beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I've been doing this thing for about 20 years covering the Boston Celtics. So hopefully you enjoy what I and my friends have to say. Today's show brought to you by FanDuel. You can start this season with a big return on FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. We're doing preseason takeaways, and we're doing preseason takeaways with our good friend, Tom Westerholm, who originally, when his family came over, they were Tom Easterholm, but they wanted to just separate themselves from that. So the Easterholm family became the Westerholm family. Big change.
I do believe that actually Westerholm is literally just west of home. Like some people have like a cool, thing behind it, but I think it's literally just, home's over there somewhere.
Home's over there. So we're over here. You just call us the west of home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't even tell you what.
That's why I go by T-Easy. So
yes, one of the many things you are known as.
Yes.
I have been told many times that my last name Karalis does mean king in Latvian. So that's pretty good.
That's better.
That's a story.
Yeah.
Karalis is actually kind of a fairly common name in Greece. Actually, it's like there are a lot of people named Karalis that I am not related to. They're out there. So a lot of them named John because a lot of biblical names. So there are a lot of people named John Karalis doing much bigger and better things that I'm going to get credit for, including a pole vaulter. His last name is Karalis. He won bronze.
I believe there's a DJ named Tom Westerholm. So shout out to that guy.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah. All right, let's name other famous people.
Okay,
we're clearly famous people.
Let's name some guys.
Yeah. Let's name some guys as we do preseason takeaways. Let's start at the tippity top. One of my biggest takeaways here, just right away, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, just ready.
Yeah,
and impressive. Remember at the end of the season, we're like looking for things to talk about, and we're like, let's see if these guys get all high and mighty, and Jalen gets all Mr. Fashion, and Jayson gets into whatever he gets into. Nope. They've done their thing.
They're still into basketball. Turns out
they clearly seem to still enjoy playing basketball, which Bear is very excited about. So that's my absolute biggest number one takeaway, that I guess I shouldn't be like this impressed by the fact that Jalen and Jayson came in as ready as they are, but Jalen came in clearly stronger and is clearly using that to add a facet to his game down on the post. And Jayson came in fixing the one thing that really bothered him in the playoffs at the end of the season and over the summer in the Olympics. And his shot looks a lot better. It just looks smoother, and it's falling, and it's consistent. And I'm impressed that the top guys have come in and set the tone. We're not satisfied with what happened.
Not only that, it's like they look like, especially Tatum looks just very free. Like I think Jalen Like, and we talked about that too. Like there was like, obviously we talked a little bit about like, yeah, maybe these guys, get kind of like happy with where they're at and, they won a championship. But then the other side of that coin is also like, hey, maybe these guys just have a weight off their back. Maybe
Sure.
like, this idea like, oh, are they ever going to win one? And like, Tatum, like everybody kind of, everybody who wasn't a Celtics fan mocked the, him ripping off the, I guess we'll never know speech. Right. But like at the same time, it's like, no, like we will never know. We'll never know what would have happened if Jayson Tatum never won a ring because he did. And now here he is, a guy with that off his shoulder, a guy who did it. And now, I mean, there's like he looks, obviously it's preseason, right? So take literally nothing from it, right? Like it's like aside from just kind of how it looks. But at the same time, like it looks really good. He looks really confident. The handle looks, snappier. The shot looks great.
Mhm.
A big poster dunk yesterday. Like he looks awesome. I'm very excited to see what he's got because I think that there's a lot of kind of like little bits of motivation that kind of happened over the offseason. And I'm curious to see how they all kind of come together for him.
Let's look at what this team has been in the past, playing down to the competition, right? It's something that this Tatum and Brown team has like, oh, we're playing. And this was not this past season necessarily. This past season, they broke out of it.
Yes.
But prior to that, that was their kind of like MO, right? The Atlanta series, they admitted that they, all of that stuff. So they shake free of that. They win a championship. And one of the questions is, do you revert to some of those old habits? Because you're like, okay, we don't have to do all this stuff anymore. We can go back to that stuff. Well, right away in the preseason, you have the Sixers playing nobody, starting Gershon Yabusele at center, and the Celtics playing everybody. This was one of their, we're going to get our starters some minutes. And they came out right away and just laid the hammer down. They didn't care. It's a preseason game, the first of 3 games in 4 nights. If there was ever an opportunity for these guys to be like, I do not care about this, I'm going to go shoot 40-footers, whatever. Yeah. That was the game, and they didn't. And that's like, okay, it's an indication of where their heads are at.
And to your point, right, it's not what you're not like, it's not like they went all out in a way that's like, oh man, these guys are playing like playoff intensity. No, they played right. Like they just played the way that you should play in a game that didn't matter at all against other guys who, like, a lot of them weren't NBA players. And they just were like, okay, well, that's fine. We're going to come out and play our brand of NBA basketball. And sure enough, all those, all-stars, all-NBA, borderline all-star guys, you put them all on the court together, when they all play the right way, they're going to be awesome. And that's, what you're looking at with Jayson and Jalen, right? It's like there was a small amount of discourse on Twitter today about how, like, Tatum had his rookie year, he had all these moves and he had this big bag, and people were like, well, why doesn't he do that stuff anymore? And it's like, well, he still could, but he's playing the right way now. He's like, he can still do all that stuff, and that's part of what makes him so good. He does have all these tricks and all these little things that he can do, and he just kind of uses them when he needs to use them. And otherwise, he's just a really great basketball player. And that's this Celtics team. It's a microcosm of this Celtics team, where it's like, yeah, these guys individually, they're all awesome, but they just play the right way all together. And that's why they won 64 games last year. That's why they stormed to the title. And that's why they're going to be really good again this year. So, yeah, it's like, I mean, once again, just like last year, it's like big credit to Jalen and Jayson, who came in with the exact right mindset and the exact right way of playing, and they look great as a result. So, yeah, Celtics are back.
And what that means is everybody else has to follow suit. It's the number one thing. When your top guys come in, if you're not one of the top guys and you see them messing around, you see Tatum and Brown out there kind of goofing around, that's your cue. That's your we're going to have to. And you still have fun. Like Jayson and Derek, like Derek is a goofball. Derek White is an absolute goofball. but in the most wholesome way. And he and Jayson have, like, you saw that press conference in Abu Dhabi. They're doing their thing, and they're having fun within the parameters of basketball teams. You obviously are going to have some fun.
Yeah.
But they follow the leaders, and Tatum and Brown have come in with the right mindset, clearly having put in the work. If you're Baylor Shireman, you look at Jaylen Brown, you go, oh, damn. Okay, I'm staying late. Mom, dad, girlfriend, whomever. I'm going to be like an hour. Just put my dinner on, in the fridge. I'll heat it up when I get home because I got to stay and lift.
Yep.
Jason's doing this. I got to stay extra and do that. I just have to, because that's what I'm going up against. That's who I'm trying to be. Then this is what I got to do. It's a hell of an example.
And evidence B of that is Jordan Walsh, right? Who had that last year and is now a lot better.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's right. And speaking of Jordan Walsh, let's get into him and the other takeaway here, because I think my other big takeaway here is, I spent a whole lot of time talking about nothing. I talked about a bunch of stuff that clearly didn't matter and isn't going to happen. So thanks for that exercise, Boston Celtics. We'll talk about that when I come back. I mean, really. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. You can get a big return here on FanDuel to start this season if you're an NFL fan, NBA fan, whichever it is, because they're America's #1 sports book. It's very simple. You go to FanDuel.com, you sign up, you place your first $5 bet, you get $200 in bonus bets. So you can go and have fun with all that extra bonus bets that you have, because your first $5 bet doesn't even have to win. It's guaranteed. So if you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can go, you check out the stats right on the same page where you place your bet. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, my first bet is going to be the over on this second half. Boom, you go. Once you place it, you get the 200. So very simple, very easy. You can have some fun. Maybe you're checking out a game, the Warriors and Lakers, and you just want to have some fun in there, and you kind of don't care because you want them both to lose. You put a $5 bet on that and have some fun with it. Set your limits, set your parameters, set your budget. They have all those tools to help you out, to make sure that you are just using your disposable income. You're not going overboard. Please use those, because we do not want you to go overboard. We want you to have some fun at FanDuel.com, because they are America's #1 sportsbook. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA. If you missed the Wednesday show, I was there with Jake Madison, bemoaning the stupidity that is preseason NBA basketball. We need to change that. We need to change how things work there in the preseason. The schedule is too dumb. I ranted about that for about 11 minutes on yesterday's Locked On NBA, plus some other stuff. We got rotating hosts all week long, so go check that out. Make it your second listen after Locked On Celtics is your first listen. All right, Tom Westerholm, we extolled the virtues of Lonnie Walker. I spent a lot of time talking about Lonnie Walker on this podcast. Much oxygen has passed through these lips about, wow, Lonnie Walker is going to be potentially, he could challenge Sam Hauser. He could be, yeah. And then Luke Kornet, starting center. Luke, for starting center, this is going to be great. We just did that. That podcast is still fresh. It's still warm. And
I still think Luke should be the starting center, for what it's worth.
Which I agree, but I think the last preseason game, my big takeaway is very clearly, if they wanted Luke to be the starter, he just would have started that game.
Yeah, I think
keep
so.
that going.
It would have been very easy. Like, even if you didn't want to like tip your hand and you were like, well, we don't know if Al's going to start or not, then you could totally just be like, well, we're just bringing Al off the bench, because like get him going because he hasn't played yet. It's like, nah, he's starting.
Yeah. Yep. No. So that's out the window. Lonnie Walker, gone. He's going to get cut probably.
Yeah. Sure.
Because
DNP
in that last game, that was the most regular season of all the preseason games. I talked about this yesterday after the game.
And J.D. Davison played ahead of him.
J.D. Davison got minutes. Yes.
J.D. Davison balled. He did. Out. Holy cow.
12 points in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty good. But no Springer.
Nope.
Who I was like, my first thought was, hey, Springer was probably going to be the guy because he's such an elite defender, or can be an elite defender, and that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. It looks like it's Jordan Walsh. It looks like Jordan Walsh is going to
first quarter minutes. Jordan Walsh.
First quarter minutes.
First substitution.
There was no Holiday and there was no Hauser.
Yeah.
But when those guys are out, the first guy he went to was Jordan Walsh. He has earned that opportunity. He's shooting with confidence. He's defending well. He's bigger, rangier, longer arms, all of that stuff. But he, like you said in the last segment, he kind of got the message. And once he calmed down,
yes,
because that summer was just, listening to a podcast on 1.5 speed. Now he's calmed down. You can understand everything that he's doing.
He wasn't listening to a podcast at 1.5 speed. He was doing a podcast at normal speed, but trying to talk at 1.5 speed.
It's not, a lot of people are listening to these things at 1.5 speed. What if I just talk that fast? Then people don't have to listen at a 1.5 speed.
Yeah. That was Jordan
actually Walsh. That's let me write that down. That might
while you take notes.
Yeah.
No, I mean, listen, I thought Walsh was like, it's honestly been kind of remarkable to watch him, because Summer League was like really bad. Like I was very concerned for his NBA future after watching Summer League. And I mean, you talk about air that has come out of our lungs and gone into listeners' ear holes. Like it's like a lot of stuff about how Jordan Walsh.
Scientific there, Tom.
Yeah. I'm a big science guy. A lot of stuff about how Jordan Walsh, like, I don't know about this Jordan Walsh thing. And it's like, like he looks great. He was so disruptive yesterday. He got to the end of the game and I felt like he had a pretty major impact. And then when I looked at the box score, I was like, he had 7 points. Like that.
Yeah.
That feels low, but yeah, I mean, he was awesome on the defensive end. Like you said, the shot looks great. And honestly, like, getting to the rim, there's like little flashes here and there of when he gets like, he takes these big, long strides where if he gets you on his hip, 1 step, 2 step, he's past you. Because and he's fast, but it's not just because he's fast. It's because his legs are so long that 2 steps is like, bound rim layup. His arm is so long that he just stretches that thing out. Like he's got a lot of physical. Obviously, we've said a million, coming into the NBA, it's like he's got all the physical tools for it. Will he put it all together? And it's like, well, yeah, over the course of the last like 2 months, he really seems to have done it. Like, shout out to whoever's been training him. Like, make sure that guy's on staff, because that's right. Awesome.
Yeah. It's been great. Now he has things to learn. I talked yesterday about playing off of 2 feet. Like that's a big thing. Like that the shot that he got blocked at the end. Whether you think it was a foul or not, goes down as a block, and it should, whatever. I think it was a fine call.
I agree. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, I'm not. Whatever, it's fine. But play off 2 feet, play strong, play through the contact, and you're gonna get that call because you're gonna create more contact.
Yeah.
Or if you play off 2 feet and you change your momentum and hit a little, like take a little fade away. That's a player, an NBA player getting to the spot that Jordan Walsh did, taking a little fadeaway, little bank shot. That should be money like 80% of the time. And if you miss it, you miss it. Then that's it. You get a great look. What he did was the wrong thing to do. It was the right thing to do up until like the last, 10% of it.
Yeah.
But second-year guy, 20 years old. He's,
barely played last year.
Yeah. They're still calling him a rookie. He's still singing and dancing in front of the film session. That's something that he is going to learn. No question about that. So super impressed that Jordan Walsh came through and earned that spot, because, looking back on it now after this brief kind of review, I feel like I was wrong like 35 to 40% of this summer. I feel like I kind of like took my rim reads have been bad. I got to improve my rim reads.
Well, it just felt like such a layup sometimes, right? Because like with some of these takes, because it started off all layups. It's like, I think they should bring everybody back, and then they were like, okay, bet. Then you get a little big for your britches, and you're like, I know exactly what this franchise is gonna do. They're gonna start
I
Luke
was
Kornet, Lonnie Walker. Yeah, they're gonna keep that guy around for sure. Yeah.
I still just don't understand why Lonnie Walker comes in and doesn't like even get a chance. That's my I don't know. I still have this it's so weird that like Lonnie Walker doesn't suck. He's clearly good.
Pretty good player. Yeah.
He's a good scorer. Like, okay, yeah, he's got things that he needs to fix, but
That dude might score 60 in a G League game. Like it's gonna be kind of an abomination having him down there if he's in Maine. Like
that's the one thing that I was saying when I first like started to turn like a few weeks ago. I'm like, I kind of don't want him in the G League because he's way too good for it. And I want the guys like I want Shireman, I want Watson, I want all of those guys to go there and play and develop. I don't want Lonnie Walker to be like, oh, I got this. Like, another 55 for Lonnie Walker, or 40 piece for Lonnie Walker. Like, yeah, that's great. That's great. But like, where are the shots for these other guys? I'm afraid of that. I am legitimately afraid of that because look, I don't want to be, this is going to be a potential championship season. So I don't want to look past that. But the big picture is in, next season and the season after that, when things get expensive and you're going to have cheap talent, that cheap talent is going to be on this G League team. I want to make sure that cheap talent is getting what it needs. And maybe he's one of that cheap talent. But anyway, regardless, kudos to Jordan Walsh. Like really the progression from July to October was incredible, product of obvious hard work, and like kudos to him and whoever, like you said, whoever was involved with that. And the other big takeaway, the bigs. I mean, we can't get through this without talking about the bigs, which we've talked about. And like I said, I was wrong about Luke Kornet, but it doesn't really matter because he is going to start plenty. We'll get into that, Xavier Tillman, all of that stuff when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by Hims. We know that sometimes, guys, maybe you feel like you need a little bit of a boost in the bedroom, and you can stop worrying about your performance when you get Hims. You can feel confident knowing that you can get and stay hard whenever you're in the mood. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. Hims provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints and Viagra and Cialis, and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. The process is 100% online, so there's no need for an uncomfortable doctor's visit. Just answer a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option. If prescribed, your medications ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, Hims can help you find the ED option that works for you. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. HIMS.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compound products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on products and subscription plan. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. I want to make you aware of a new thing that's coming here after games. I will be doing podcasts after games, but there's a new Locked On Celtics postcast that's not hosted by me that will happen within like half an hour or so after the game. It's an immediate reaction podcast that will be on this audio feed. So you'll see it on this audio feed when you see postcast. That's a separate podcast that you should listen to. And I will be doing my regular podcast. You get postcast right after the game. You go to sleep, you wake up. My takes are there for you right there in the morning. So you don't have to wait anymore for a Celtics reaction on this feed. It will show up on YouTube on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube page. My current Locked On Celtics YouTube page will remain as is. So just be aware of that as we move forward. All right, let's get back to our takeaways from the preseason. And the bigs are the other big topic. Like, is it a big takeaway that Peyton Pritchard can, shine? Like, it's the same Peyton Pritchard, right? Sam Hauser, it's good that he's adding some off the bounce stuff. Big time shooter. But like, yeah, Sam Hauser might be getting a little bit better. That's awesome. Derek White is who he is. Drew Holiday is who he is. We know all about those guys. Awesome players. But without Porzingis for these, first couple of months or so, it's how do you get through these back-to-backs? And I have never been more comfortable with this situation with the bigs. I'm very happy with how Luke Kornet looked. I'm very happy with how Xavier Tillman has looked. I'm happy that he's hit a few threes. That confidence is there for him to take those. Even Neemias Queta looks pretty good. He looks like himself, and I feel like this big man depth. You have 3 centers on your team that aren't your starter or your 6 man. 3 guys that you can actually play.
Yeah,
that is not easy to have.
No, for sure. Especially Kornet has looked really good. Like that's one of my big preseason takeaways. I mean, even yesterday's game, right? Like Horford started, but Kornet, I think he was like 5 for 5 or something. Or 5 for 7, something like great shooting line. Big positive impact on everything. I think, there's so much talk about how all these guys got better and inspired each other and did X, Y, Z. And I think Kornet sometimes, he's a goof kind of guy, right? He's just he's big, he's funny, he makes funny jokes, does funny hand gestures, does like the 1-0 thing at Tatum. Yeah, does the 1-0 thing at Tatum. Like
that was funny. That was so funny. That's a great pull.
Deep cut. Yeah. Like
that's a great pull from him.
Phenomenal pull. And he is, he's goofy. He's funny. He's that is who he is. But at the same time, it's like, he is also getting better, with the Celtics. And I mean, he's also adding to his game. I mean, clearly, right? Cause he used to be this kind of stretch big, and now he's a super reliable, rim roll read, kind of guy. And he's only getting better at that stuff. Only getting better within his role on the Celtics. Like, I'm very impressed by him. I think that having him around is going to be really, really important. I think, Xavier Tillman, that's going to be nice. And I'm interested to see how that works. And obviously Queta, whenever he plays, it'll be, there will be dunks, whenever he plays, there will be dunks. But I think Kornet is the one where it's like, okay, I would not be surprised if he kind of takes a, 7 foot 1 step forward and can really play a major role on this team this year. Because even when Porzingis comes back, it's not like you're going to want Porzingis or Horford playing every single game. It's not like you're going to want them playing 35 some odd minutes a game. Kornet buys you so much time if he's this solid, and I think he is. So I think he's got a huge role this year.
That is it. That right there is the point, the main point with Luke Kornet. Not only, he's going to get you through these first few months, but you know what? That's not the big deal. Because the Celtics are so damn good that, Tillman can get you through those next few months. Queta can get you through. It's the allowing them to take their time. And really, last season, this was a big deal last season too. He started off slow, but then he picked it up. They were so cautious with Porzingis. And it's because Kornet was kind of there to take some of the minutes. Like, they felt comfortable playing Kornet. He's good enough to, okay, we're gonna play Porzingis in short stints. We're gonna play Horford. We know we're only gonna play him 25 to 28 minutes. So we're not gonna get to the full 48 the way we're going. So do you really want to put that extra on Tatum to be a small ball 5? You can go with Kornet. And there are back-to-backs where somebody's going to be out. Kornet allows the Celtics to take their time with the most important guys on the roster. No, and that's a compliment. It doesn't sound like a compliment because it says other guys are more important, but it's true. He can come in and buy them the time. He is the innings eater. He's the middle reliever that can come in and be like, you know what, the starter's only going 3 innings. Well, I can get you 4 through 8 and be fine, and then you can like save your bullpen. That is so important for the Celtics. So Luke coming in and just being that right away, super encouraging.
Well, and it's funny how he's kind of a 1-to-1 with Pritchard, big and guard, right? Where it's like you got a guy who, like, if and when he moves on to another team, he's gonna have like he's gonna have a role like somewhere else, like probably a bigger role than the one he has on the Celtics, and he's probably gonna do it quite well. He's a good player, but like in this current role where he is. Like, I honestly, I think the innings eating thing is great because, like, those guys, you need those guys in the playoffs, right? Like, you need those innings. And, like, yeah, these guys are going to have a major impact on the Celtics playoff run. 1, by being good players, but 2, by who they are going to allow to be ready for the playoffs. Like, these guys are really important for the Celtics team. And I think, you know, as long as this Celtics team can have, like, this roster, right? Like, appreciate this roster as it's constructed, because this is a perfect basketball roster. And you know, like guys like Kornet and Pritchard are just your perfect role guys on a team like this. It's really kind of incredible how that's kind of come together. But
and that might be the final big takeaway. These guys are just so well constructed. They can withstand even losses. They can withstand somebody getting hurt. They can get through it because everybody in the starting lineup is so good that you can put 2 or 3 of them around some of these other guys, and the other guys look great.
Yeah.
You know, they look great. So I just look at this team as just like, between the stuff we talked about at the top with Tatum and Brown leading the charge, right? They set the example. They look fantastic. With end of bench guys stepping up and looking like, wow, you know, Jordan Walsh can play with these guys. And the rotation in a spot that's maybe your most, if you have any fear about this team, it's the bigs, because Porzingis is injury prone and Al Horford is 38 years old. And I feel comfortable with this big man rotation because you don't have to overload anybody. It's just so well constructed. There's a reason why the entire league is like, yeah, Boston. Like Stan Van Gundy says, the best team I've ever seen constructed. There's a reason for that. They are just way above everybody.
I know we're long on time, but it's amazing how Brad has taken a bunch of guys who all kind of elevate, like, it's because it's not just individual guys. They all kind of elevate each other in their own way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just like, okay, I got like a great star. It's not, okay, I just got a bunch of versatile guys. It is that, right? It's certainly that, but it's also like, everybody's, you know, my stars elevate my role players, who elevate my stars, who elevate, you know, it's just very symbiotic roster. It's incredible stuff.
It's great. Enjoy it. That's my message to everybody. Just let's enjoy it, because this is going to be another special year. Now, I think they're going to win the championship again. But you know, look, other teams are going to have something to say about that. They're going to be right there in the mix. They're going to be at the front of the pack. Enjoy this team, because it might be a little 2009-ish, hopefully without the injury.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hopefully without the injury. But even like, no, I'm not going to go down that road. Very 2009 vibes in that they're going to come out. They look better. There's a championship team that looks better somehow. So hopefully the luck is a little bit different, and they can cash in on that promise.
Before we go, I want to give a quick shout out. 413 Springfield's own Hassan Ward headed to the Celtics G League team. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, speaking of shout outs, Aaron Baines, happy retirement, buddy.
Yeah.
Aaron Baines.
Happy
retirement to Aaron Baines, man. It's tough. He had a tough kind of like end, a weird medical thing that happened to him, but luckily he's okay. and he's experienced a lot. That
awesome
2018
basketball player. Awesome basketball player.
That 2018 run when he just suddenly just rained threes. We're like, oh my God, he hit another one.
Not just that, he also like was kind of the part of that start of like the Celtics just having an answer for any big physical dude.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, I do not care. Like, like we got big, beefy dudes, put them in the middle of the lane. You know, it worked out very well.
Shout out to all of Australia. All right.
Yes.
Tom, appreciate you as always.
Appreciate you, man.
And I appreciate you, the listener, the watcher, the viewer. Thank you so much for participating in this. And I say participating because I want you to participate. I want you to comment. I want you to get on social media and talk about it. I want you to comment in the YouTube comment section. Or if you're just talking to your radio in your car, that's fine. I can hear you. So I love the fact that you're subscribed. If you're not a subscriber, then please do so. Subscribe wherever you get podcasts on that YouTube page. And then I would love it if you shared the podcast and told everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.